Hi guys, I'm just following on from yesterday's game. It was Scotland beating England 11-6. This is a bit more calmer reaction and a calmer reflection of what happened during the game. Obviously, my voice has gone a little bit after last night, but I think well deserved. And I hope everyone who is Scottish or was supporting Scotland yesterday had a good night last night, and but also at the same time we're all sensible. Didn't go out to mingling with too many people at all, and that we're all okay this morning because we fully deserve that. I mean, and we need to enjoy it as well, even though there are no fans there, which I'm still obviously is disappointing but understandable. Even though that was the case, like it's 38 years since we last won at Twickenham. It's just something you have to enjoy, and Twickenham is still such a hard place to go and win for any side. So when you actually do beat them, you have to enjoy it as best you can. But overall in the game, obviously the general consensus has been Scotland absolutely dominated, and 11-6 was a flattering score for England, and I fully go along with that. As I said yesterday, I thought we absolutely bossed them in every department. Maybe one or two scrums were a bit wonky. The only real kind of big concern I had, obviously Finn Russell's trip, which was absolutely stupid of him. Didn't need to do it at all, and that was lucky that didn't cost us. That and also I think our execution on the scoreboard was the only things that really made me nervous about yesterday's performance, because the rest of it was just absolutely all over them. We absolutely dominated. Our defence was brilliant. Thanks to my Welsh pals again for giving us Steve Tandy, and good. It was a good move of Gregor Townsend to get him in as our defence coach, because since he's come in, our defence has gone on leaps and bounds. I think say we're up there among the best defences in the world right now. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself in that yet. Set pieces, apart from one or two scrums, again we were absolutely all over them, especially at the line out. That's what really impressed me, because the past few years our line-out's been a bit iffy. But our own line-out, we were solid as a rock, and on their line-out, we were all over them. I mean, we just absolutely were brilliant. Sort of disrupting their balls. We knew the right times when to go up and compete, the right times when to just keep it down and try and stop them at the driving ball. It was absolutely fantastic, and we were brilliant at adjusting our tactics where we needed to, because it was clear early doors, looking at it, that England had Mario Itoje almost like man marking Ali Price. It was clear it was Itoje's job to be on Price at all times, because Ali Price, I'm still not wholly convinced he's Scotland's answer at number 9 long term, and I still think George Horne, when he's on form and on his best day, is still slightly ahead of him as a rugby player. But after it was clear what England's tactics were to get Itoje on Price, because Price can sometimes dawdle a little bit around the breakdowns, and he charged him down twice early doors. After we worked out that was their tactics, where instead of just going the same again, we actually adjusted really well, and at times we got better pillars around the breakdowns. Again, question marks as to how legal that is. Referees don't often pick it up with regards to making sure there's pillars around the breakdown to make sure the scrum half's got the time and room he needs to execute a box kick or to pass it back to the 10 if need be. We got that right the more the game went on, and also Ali Price, we adjusted the tactics as well, and a couple of times ran out of our own 22, and actually, but we weren't silly about it. We didn't absolutely throw caution to the wind or give the ball away stupidly, which was good. And their kicking game as well, we absolutely bossed it, because England's kicking game was poor. I mean, I'm going to talk about England in a second actually, but Scotland's kicking game overall, we were absolutely all over them there. I think all of our kicks, almost all of them anyway, were kicked with a purpose, and they were just like, we were accurately going for the corners, probing them back. We put their wingers under pressure. We put Elliot Daly under pressure when need be. Elliot Daly didn't actually have that bad a game, to be fair, from fullback with his kicking. I mean, in terms of attack, he had, like the rest of the England backline, he had no impact whatsoever, but in terms of his kicking, he was actually, for the most part, quite good. And yeah, so just overall, I think a very satisfying performance, and hopefully we can look forward to a good Six Nations. Whether we're going to be in the chance of the championship or not, I'm still saving that for another day. But we've got a hard game against Wales to focus on next week, and that's where the focus needs to be after we've enjoyed ourselves a bit, and then look to next week and we'll focus on Wales. As for England, they've been absolutely shown up, I think. After their Autumn Nations Cup win, I was really, sad and kind of angry that the way the rugby was going, with the way they played and the way they won it, it was just off a kicking game, really, and it was just that ping-pong kickathon, which is the style of rugby I don't like. I understand tactical kicking, and I'm okay if it's like just that kind of kicking to, gain an advantage, but if it's just back and forth all the time, then that's not rugby to me. And they just looked clueless when our defence showed them up. And it was like after every third or fourth phase, because they usually went through a couple of phases where they looked like they were starting to maybe get a bit of promise, and then third or fourth phase, they stalled, and then after that, no clue, and Owen Farrell just kicked it away for the most part. And I just wonder, so this England team look like they have no creativity right now, and Owen Farrell is not a captain. I don't think he's a captain. I think he's a good rugby player, and I do still think his best position is 10 on his day. But as a captain, I think he's still there now should be better options for England. I'd say Maro Itoje would be a good shout actually, and he had a good game. I didn't think the best by his standard. I know a lot of folk are praising him, but his work rate was there, it was outstanding. But he still gave away a couple of silly penalties, and it wasn't as disciplined as I think he normally as he can be. I say he can be because he can be quite smart in it, but he's also one of these players that opponents would absolutely hate but absolutely love on their team. So, for the most part, he had a good game and put gave his best effort. In terms of effort, he gave his best efforts, and I think he would be a good captain for England going forward, better than Farrell, I think. Whether Eddie Jones looks into that or not, I don't know. But also, their three-quarter line, I don't remember the three-quarter line hardly having a touch of the ball, and their back row were exceptionally quiet almost all game. Apart from a few tackles, I don't remember seeing any of the back row really having an impact at all. So overall, I think this could be a good stepping stone for Scotland. Hopefully, like I said, we can go to play Wales at Murrayfield next week, and carry on, and also make sure we're kicking our goals and we're executing our basics well, and we're getting the scoreboard ticking over a lot more than we were yesterday. And that could be something, that will really help us and make us get better. And for England, Italy next week, a chance to bounce back, but they've got to make some major changes going forward. They also look very rusty, understandable with the Saracens players. But overall, like I said, they've got some work to do. I mean, the Italy game might be, although they should win that might be the game to give them a bit of a springboard to get some confidence back. But where they'll be at the end of the championship, who knows? Anyway, that's all I've got to say, guys. Thank you very much for listening, and appreciate everyone who likes and comments on my videos and likes to hear what I have to say. And hopefully I'll be doing more of these throughout the Six Nations. Wales Island today, I'm looking forward to that. In the meantime, though, guys, thanks very much for listening, and I'll catch you later on. Take care.